Hello and welcome to Discovering Grayslake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. We are recording here on a Monday morning at Agora. Thank you to Agora for letting us record here. Agora is a co-working space on the corner of Center Street and Atkinson, so thank you to Luke for having us here. So if you guys are looking for an office for a day, for a week, or a lifelong home, come talk to Luke. He's a great guy, a great place to get your business out of the home for just a little bit. So we're recording on a Monday morning after summer days, and I'm here with Brian Vecchione. Said it right?
It was beautiful. Could have done it better.
Okay, right. Steve Lawrence and Mary Beth. Okay, so let's talk about it's Summerfest. Okay, just for everybody that attended this weekend. So we're actually going to, hopefully you guys will be listening to this the Tuesday after. So I'm not sure how we're going to go about this, but I want to talk a little about history, about what happened this weekend, and because I think it was a huge success. Because first of all, are we happy?
Extremely happy.
Okay.
It was awesome.
All right, so Steve's
at least from our point of view.
A little rain on Friday, but...
And I think the key is when we walked in, Mary Beth said, Facebook's been nice to us today. But not through the whole time, because I saw some other things that were out there. But let's start with Steve. I want to talk a little bit about Steve is very, very schooled on the history of Summer Days, Summerfest. Tell me your earliest remembrance of being involved.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I've forgotten more than I remember. But my earliest recollection of this, and it was Chautauqua Days, is what Chautauqua, I believe, and I wish Tim Rafferty was around to say yes, and it was on Whitney Street, and at that time it was Home Federal, I think, was on the bank where PNC is now, so that was this road that was closed off. But my biggest memory of that is Tim and I cooking bratwurst from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and at the end of the day, we made $60. It's like, we would have been better off each throwing in $30 and enjoying the weekend. But it's got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
And from that, it kind of rolled. And again, I don't know quite what the years were, but it originally started, too, with like a Thursday night. Then it went Friday, Saturday, and then the parade was Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So it was a big 3.5-day event. And really, just this year, I think kind of explains it too. We tried something different. We went from Summer Days to Summerfest. The focus was totally on the bands because that's what the people wanted. So, I remember the days we had that bike and pep parade, and that was for years and years and years. And I think the last year we tried to do it. What did we have? Like 7 kids. Yeah, so it was like, people are just so busy now during the days. So, with soccer, baseball, kids stuff, it's just like... So that's why we put all the focus on the bands, and Brian here was the man.
So. All right, so Brian, okay, and anybody that doesn't know when listening, this is brought by the Chamber of Commerce, and you guys have done it. There's a lot of planning that goes on in this. It takes a long time to do it. So Brian, I know that for people that don't know, you want to introduce yourself, tell them kind of what you do, why you're the expert on that, we should say, and a little bit about how we get these bands.
So my stage name is Brian Bender. So I have been doing music since I was a child. I saw Ben Saltz, who I went to grade school with, play Stairway to Heaven, and every girl went nuts in the gymnasium. And I went home and like, Mom, I want to play the guitar. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started. And then I've just loved music. I did it in high school. I was in marching band. I was the band board president. I also love organization. So I'm a musician and business. So I love both of those things coming together. And then when I was 21, I was the manager for Red Bull, this new beverage that came to the United States.
I've heard of that, I think.
They wouldn't allow me to work or be in a band and also work at Red Bull. So I came up with an alias, Brian Bender, to play shows on the weekends, and then Brian Vecchione worked at Red Bull during the week. So I enjoyed marketing, learned this new type of word of mouth thing that Dietrich Mateschitz from Red Bull taught. And then I was playing every weekend as this alias so I can go out and play and not get yelled at. And the internet wasn't that big at that time, so there's no way I can do that. I'm also very honest and trusting. It's just when it comes to music, I have a passion and I will do anything in my due diligence to do it. I've been a talent buyer at the Elbow Room in Chicago, Wire in Berwyn, Dirty Nellies in Palatine. I've put on music festivals at House of Blues. I've toured with big bands. I've toured with really bands you've never heard of, and I've been in tribute bands, played with Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC in Alaska. So I've seen things, I've done things, and I've always loved the music community. And I moved to Grayslake after the pandemic. My wife is a photographer. We always lived in lofts, and lofts in the city were all getting sold during the pandemic because of squatters. And I'm like, we need to not move again because I can't do it again because I'm old. I don't have it in me. So I said, we can live anywhere within an hour of the city if it has high ceilings and big windows so you can be a photographer. So she found this house in Grayslake. We walked in, and I'm like, I love it. And then there was this festival going on, Summerfest, Summer Days. So I went there, and I was like, oh, like, this is cool. Like, there's potential to really do some great things. So I approached the Chamber of Commerce and said, hi, I do music. I was a talent buyer. I'm in a band. I would love to participate. And I was welcomed with open arms.
I think when you walk in and say, I'd like to help and do something, people tend to come on in. Let's go.
Yeah, and for the past 3 years, I've helped with the talent buying and advancing and production with the shows, utilized, because it's challenging too, because there's relationships that we've had with sound companies where they're just retiring, like they've done it for 40 to 50 years, so they're calling it quits.
Are you looking for a great time right in the heart of our awesome community? Well, look no further than the Grayslake Village Center, your one-stop destination for all things fun and fabulous. Picture this. Historical downtown vibes with a mix of diverse businesses, an array of unique shops, and delicious restaurants. Many with outdoor seating, with an option to soak up the sun or shade. But that's not all. The Village Center is where the action is. And just like the weather, it's definitely heating up. There are events that take place all year round for the whole family. But now, you'll even have more options. Fill up your calendar with things to do. Also, take a stroll through Central Park, Gelatin Park, surrounding trails, green spaces, and more activities to keep you and your friends and family active all summer long. And now that the weather is warming up, dive into the Aquatic Center. Open Memorial Day to Labor Day. But wait, there is more. Visit GrayslakeVillageCenter.com to discover an incredible lineup of events that are happening every month. Be in the know. Not sure what you're waiting for, so come on down, soak up the local vibes, and enjoy the experience that's unmistakably local and uniquely Grayslake. Grayslake Village Center, where the fun never stops.
I know tons of people just from playing or just friends that I have, so we've utilized some great relationships with people, and then like sponsorships are a huge thing. I'm like, what better way to show sponsor logos on a video wall behind, just to add production value and stuff too. Lights, love production. So I've been kind of coming in and utilizing relationships I have, and also listening to the community too. We wanted a country band last year. We got a country band. Steve knows a lot of stuff in Libertyville, so School of Rock Libertyville, kind of utilized those relationships and just kind of brought it together. And it's a balancing act of making sure the band gets everything that they need, but also we're not over-delivering.
Sure.
And taking away from the value of the festival as well.
Right. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And as he takes a big deep breath. Okay, let's talk about how choosing the bands for this year. Since we're on bands. So do we take feedback from what we had last year, or look at kind of just a variety of things? How does that actually work?
It's community driven. So there were some people that were talking about the Dave Matthews tribute. They have some local ties in the area. And they've been around for 20 years.
Was that Trippin' Billies?
Trippin' Billies.
Yeah.
I've played with them a bunch. I've opened up for them. They're really nice guys. So they were available. And then I try to get the pulse on the market. So like Austin's Fuel Room, Sundance Saloon, and Mundelein, like what bands are playing over there, and have a decent draw. And Dancing Queen, a salute to ABBA, had a sold out show at Austin's. So I thought that would be a really good thing. And then Taylor Swift, this was a first time booking with this tribute, but it's been such a big Taylor decade era.
Yeah.
Right.
And wanted to give something to the community for the kids, so that they would have something. And if you were there, like, you couldn't hear the PA with the kids screaming and yelling so loud. And then also like utilizing community, discovering Grayslake. I thought that would be a good thing to kind of open up.
Thank you.
And then Kaylee Chaos, wonderful DJ.
You're a big fan of her.
A huge fan. Huge fan.
I saw you wearing the shirt.
I've
No
seen
bias there.
Right. No, not at all. I heard she likes homes with tall, big
huge
windows.
windows.
Yes.
But she's been DJing for probably 6 or 7 years. She would do residencies at Elbow Room, Subterranean, Beat Kitchen, Dirty Nellies, and has a vast array of video sets that she's done. So to kind of tie it into the Taylor Swift, we did a Girl Power sort of tribute with the Barbie movie and everything else too. So we try to get that culture. We do a battle of the bands so that there's at least a point of entry if people are newer or just trying to get into it. And we do that at Grayslake Summer Nights.
Yep.
And that thing has grown profusely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, 2 stages, and we had such a close ballot count that we actually added second place to perform this year. So first place got the Friday night, and then we added a spot right after the parade for the second place band. So,
that's how that worked. Okay, so and that was Steady Ahead.
Steady Ahead was on Friday, and then
Great guys.
Yeah, and then Otherwise Normal was on Saturday.
Okay.
And there's a famous dentist in that band, local to the area, so
Nice.
we'll give a little shout out for that too.
Nice.
Valedictorian.
Yeah.
So he's a good dentist.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to bring local stuff in and fun stuff and tie it in.
Yeah.
And they played right after the parade.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
Yeah, so do a little discussion with the band, though, too. It's, we get together after this and have kind of like a committee meeting. This is partial committee, but here we get the debrief.
Yeah.
But like last year when we were talking, okay, who are we going to get, we had boy band review for 2 years that brought in that crowd, and he had his own following too.
Right.
So you were like a guaranteed crowd. So that was part of that conversation too, is who is going to be that slot, especially on Saturday. So it's after the parade, who's going to bring in some people, and it was the Burning Red, and she did a phenomenal show.
Really
We
did.
picked these in like October or November of last year.
Yeah, we book them
Really?
like right now. We'll start talking and go, okay, who's going to be, because all the good ones book up fast.
Yeah. Yeah, so typically we'll do a hold, and then we'll do a hold, and then we'll try to confirm them before winter break, just to lock them in, because all the street festivals in Chicago, special events management, star events,
Right.
they get them all up, and then the air and water shows going. There's like so many different things that are going on, so we try to get as many things locked in. We try to do a radius clause so that people are focused on seeing them on stage, outdoors, and just make it a great experience.
Wow, no, that's great, and that's a huge thing of picking stuff, because I don't know if you guys know, but when you get a community like this in a public event, that a lot of people have opinions.
No.
Oh, you guys didn't know that? It's very interesting to see. So I'm sure that half the people listening, hopefully more than half the people listening, are really happy, because with the variety, and anytime we have an outside festival, Friday night. I know that the huge crowds that were there to see me at 5, like, they were around, they were kind of mobbing me. The mosh pit was,
It was crazy. It was crazy.
And then I promised people it wasn't going to rain, and then Kaylee come on, same thing, and then we get the rain.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure how that works. So, and I did a podcast with the Steady Ahead guys, and they were, these guys are such cool guys, so excited.
They were so excited.
But gratitude is absolutely the word.
Yeah.
And then the weather comes in, and I couldn't have I'm like, oh my gosh, no, we can't do this. Obviously, we don't know how to plan around that, but and the things that you made is running the sound, and people leave, but then people came back after the weather's gone. But I think it really put a damper on things. Did you guys feel the same?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, they did come back, but by that time, the restaurants were packed.
Yep.
Now you've already eaten, you already drank.
Yep.
You're coming back to listen to them, but you didn't go to the food tent, you didn't go to the beer tent. But it was a good crowd that came back. I mean, we were very excited, but yeah, we lost a lot.
But I think the good thing too is the Battle of the Band winner had the most ballots selected, so there was Study Ahead black T-shirts.
Oh, everywhere.
It was, and you also saw Study Ahead T-shirts on Saturday too, which was great. Mm-hmm. So it's great to see a hardcore following for a band stick around in the rain and be dedicated to the cause, to kind of see them kind of grow and play a bigger stage, which was really cool. Which I liked.
And their huge picture they had on Facebook where everybody's underneath the awning that. There's the whole group of them. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
But after that, I think there's a decent amount, because that was Trippin' Billy's night. That was Friday night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a good crowd.
It was.
It was a very good crowd.
For what the hand we were dealt for that night is a big deal. Yeah. And for people to come back because Summerfest is drinking beer and listening to live music, right? I mean, and
that's it.
And playing bingo.
And bingo. Okay, we have a lot of things. I thought I remembered everything we have to cover, but I do want to go on one thing, because the only thing that obviously the negative things brought up, because Mary Beth and you and I spoke when I was there. So before everything kicked off, a lot of people were like, "Hey, what happened to these kids' carnival games or carnival little rides? Where's the little roller coaster? Where's this?" So I know that is one question people have. So why wasn't it there, and how do you think it worked out without it?
So unfortunately, we can't. If we could get bigger rides, so the rides that have been there for years.
Yes.
Once you hit 9 or 10, there's no way you're going on these rides, because they're just for little kids. And we really struggled, and that's why we got the Taylor Swift. We want that teen. There's a lot of teens in this, and I know I grew up in Lake Villa. Lake Villa days was everything. So I know it's a come together with everybody. But last year they shut down around 7:15 because nobody was on them. And they take up a beautiful part of real estate, and then you shut it down and there's no lights and it's all dark and it looked like we're closed.
Right.
So we realized that, like Steve said, during the day we've tried touch-a-truck, we've tried, skateboarding, we've had gaming, you name it, we've tried it. Wrestling. We've tried everything.
Missed that one.
And nothing gets the people down here. So we thought, you know what? Let's not have carnival rides, because obviously there's not enough people, because you have to be little. And let's move the time up and try to do that. And I personally think it was a success, because it was crazy busy. But I know when you've got kids and you're expecting that they get to go on these little rides, but it wasn't attended like I think people thought it was.
Yes. And also, I'd like to say thank you for not having, because you saved me like $200.
At least.
Well, we heard that side of it too.
Right. But, I mean, on stuff that really wasn't and you're right, after, I guess there is a little bit of value for people to come down that have really young kids, so they can put them on rides and spend a fortune for. Right. But the value that it brings compared to the real estate it takes up, I think it's
and the other two things in that too, the vendors just I'm not making as much, and I've got setup, takedown, staff, and all that. And then as we're booking better bands, we needed the room to expand too.
Yeah.
So that's why we even moved our beer tent out of the way. I couldn't really see the band, so I kind of missed it, but I think it worked well where it was.
Yeah. And we bring in a great carnival at the end of April that is real rides, not kiddie rides. So kiddie rides plus real rides. So it's from 2-year-olds to 80-year-olds. And then Taste of Grayslake brings big carnival rides in. So they just had all that. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a.
I think it was short-lived though. That's how people talking about it, and I
think once people understood that it really wasn't being used,
right.
Except the big slide. I think the big slide got used.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? But people are going to complain no matter what. But I understand the reasoning of it for sure. So I like that you implemented other things to kind of, because it really is teen-based. When the teens come down there, they just run around. What are they going to do? They just run around and cause trouble. So.
Right. And the sad thing about it is that the den had a really cute thing.
I want to talk about the den. Yes.
Very excited about that. But they had a scavenger hunt. So as a kid, 10, 11, 12, whatever, you could go there with all your friends, get the sheet, and go around to businesses. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Sarah to see how well that took off. But, I mean, how fun would that be, all your friends going around and doing the scavenger hunt? So I think it was the first year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to grow. I mean, you were in there more. You might have seen
There's
something.
a lot of people over there.
It was a lot. It did so good Friday that we brought in additional lighting Saturday just to kind of brighten up the environment with it too. So, and another thing too is like, you know, everything we're doing is with purpose. It's not like we're just like, hey, we're going to get rid of this, ha ha ha, like a supervillain. Like, you know,
you can't do those guys. Fun. Forget you.
You know, we're really trying to, with due diligence, like make it a great event for all parties involved. And, you know, it's growing pains. Like, nothing's going to be perfect. We're going to take learnings from this and considerations. And the line's always open. We hear you. We're reading it. And we will try to do everything in our power to serve the community. But we have to serve a lot of people. So,
Sure.
you know, we can't make everybody ecstatic with 5-star service. But we're going to strive for that. And we're going to continue to work on it. But, you know, it's a continually growing process. And we're going to do our best to do it, and we'll listen and do what we can to make it work for everybody.
Yeah, because it's not an easy thing. We say, like, especially outdoor things and bands, we used to say they're like the you know, this band's too loud, this band's too, you know, soft, and this band's just right. Like, where do you find the right way to do everything?
Well, there's bands that you sit and watch, there's bands that you stand and jump around with. So, like, you know, is there enough for lawn chairs and also, you know, little girls screaming and almost running on stage, so like, you know, and then you have to think safety, and there's all these other considerations too. So
and more and more people are bringing chairs down, so now we have to back people up to not go in the dancing spot. And people didn't understand that. They're like, no, we're going to sit here. We're going to sit there, and you feel bad to say, could you move?
Right, when you rope it off?
Do you want? We did, but
did you?
It's still, people were still coming in. It's not that we don't want you there. Do you really want to be Stampede with all these Taylor Swifties with their
Right. I couldn't. And people must have came straight from the parade over there to put their chairs up, because when I walked over there, it was like, holy cow! Look at all the chairs that are out here.
3:00 chairs were already out there.
Oh, everywhere.
And I'm like, they don't start till 5, but all right.
Well, I think it's a good sign.
It is a good sign.
Up. I love that. I love that.
Hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grayslake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
Okay, so the most important things to make these things happen, obviously, there's a planning committee that you start planning. Obviously, this is from today until all the way till next year, right? Mm-hmm. Putting the sponsors that we have in this town and the community support we have from business is enormous. I'd like to bring some highlights of maybe some of the bigger sponsors that we had, people that did stuff that really make things happen, because I know that they all needed a huge shout out, and I know I appreciate them, and the community does too. So let's talk about some of them.
So our major sponsor was Herring Homes. She was the proud sponsor. And then we had Baird Warner.
Woohoo! Steve's a little biased. We have a DJ fan and a sponsor fan.
Sink Mars, Jody's group, and City Chevrolet. They were our band, and they were our biggest sponsors. But then we had a lot of little guys, orthodontist specialist, mock design. Oh my God, I could go on.
And I don't want to make you name them all, because I don't know if we forget.
I know if we forget anybody, I will. But and so by being the proud sponsors of those, they get to announce the bands.
Yeah. So what do you get for that money? So if I'm a business wanting to sponsor next year, what
besides
do you get?
You're on the big display board,
right?
And we plaster you on Facebook, but you also get to go up there. And my goal is that you say whatever you want. You're going to announce the band, but do whatever you want. I mean, sure. Jody's group talked about they have some special for teachers. You know, she asked
they talk about Educators Advantage, right?
Right, and you know, so she got the whole crowd. You know, Nano, tries to find out a little bit about her group and she did Taylor Swift, so she did a little thing about them, And Jamie got them going with
puns of lyrics.
Puns of lyrics. And then City Chevrolet, they unfortunately couldn't come back on Saturday, but they were there on Friday, and he just talked about, what's going on over there. They have a drive-up movie theater once a month.
And I just got to separate, a shout out to them for bringing that back and to see the passion and talking to those guys. It's
and
really
they are
cool.
really, they're really getting more cars. They're really wanting to be more involved in the community.
Excellent.
And he talked about, he lives in Mundelein, wants to come here. He loves the town. And when you love the town, you just want to be a part of it. So I predict City Chevrolet will be probably...
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they weren't one of the main sponsors. Not any pressure, guys, at all. Especially if you're listening now. After this free shout out for you too.
And I think, and then the other part was the other volunteers got to work the beer tent.
Oh, okay. My favorite part was going and seeing who's working the beer tent and what crew's behind it. That was a lot of fun.
And that is very fun. So you sponsor it. And you pay. So you literally...
Pay to work.
Yeah. Steve came
I am never sponsoring it.
I came up with that idea.
I'm going to pay to drink.
You're going to pay to drink.
And laugh and see who's working.
Right. So, we have community trust. And so they wear their get-up. And Barb Newton, her group. And it's just fun because, Jamie's group worked it as well. Steve's group. So it's just fun. You jump in there and you can bring anything you want. If you've got trinkets you want to give out to the crowd. But... it's just they seem like they're having a great time, and that they're all working together, and I think it's very fun.
It is very fun, and it's really cool to see how everything comes together. Where there's different parts of the community doing different things, on the face of the stage.
ATC Waggy, I forgot about that.
Oh yes,
Linda would be so sad.
It's nice to see how everybody is represented too. How even the baseball team with the dunk tank on the side of the stage. So there's all these little groups of people. There's a whole group of running the the dunk tank and everything. Have we named all the sponsors?
Well, then we had bingo. So we finally got bingo. We got sponsors for the bingo, the Churchill group.
Yes.
And then Right at Home.
Yeah.
State Bank of the Lakes.
Good. That's awesome.
And so and then we had the bronze. Was a bunch of fun. But yes, I know I'm going to forget somebody, so I am so sorry if I forget anyone.
What Mary Beth's trying to say is she appreciates each
Oh my God.
Right.
Without our businesses, and it's the same group. It's the same group that does everything.
I know.
Which
is great, and then a little sad in some ways too. We need some new fresh people to come out.
Because I don't think they realize what they get.
It's a lot of value.
When you work the beer tent and you see, it's fun.
Especially, and it's not a surprise to me that a lot of the big sponsors are realtors, because being a realtor, you sponsor just being there and going around and talking to everybody in the community. That's what advertising is for realtors, right?
Right, because somebody from Steve's team was like, I forgot my business cards.
But fun fact, Summer Days has never made money. Never. It's a money loser every single year. And when the rains come like it does, because really it's the sponsorships and beer tent that we make our money on.
Right.
And we split the beer tent money with the Exchange Club. So we're good partners with them. We do the beer fest with them also and split the proceeds. Obviously, Exchange Club in Grayslake benefits abused children, but we give all their money to the scholarships and that kind of stuff. But that's the only money that comes in. So there's been years we've lost $20,000.
Really?
So it's a community thing. It's a business building thing. The restaurants certainly like it, and the people that come down. And you hope too with the different bands that we bring. Hey, I love this band. Wow, I didn't know downtown Grayslake was so cool. Yeah. Let's come back.
Right.
So it's the economic development piece of this too that why we put it on. But to me that's what makes our town special. Is it's that Mayberry feel. Even though now we're at 23,000 people, it still feels like hometown Grayslake. And from a guy that's been here since '62, it still feels hometown Grayslake.
It's a great town. We did have to add this year no outside cooler. Last year we found a lot of people bringing in coolers, and you don't want to. I don't want to be that person, but we had to say I'm sorry because spending, like Steve says, we are in a hole in this, and if the vendors don't make money and the food trucks don't make money, they're not going to come to our.
They're not going to come back.
And if you notice, the last 3 years, the bands we have now compared to what we had before, before Brian took over, we're talking night and day.
Right.
I mean, past years it was the same band over and over and over, and this is always new. You know, everybody's like, well, why didn't you bring back? We want new.
Okay, speaking of that, anybody you're after for next year?
We're exploring a bunch.
All right.
Of things. Stay tuned.
I know you're not going to
Follow us
tell
on
me.
Facebook.
Well, I wanted the print show for this year until we got the price tag, and we would have been more than 20,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
So,
Who would you like to see?
I really don't have a band that I agree. Like I see bands at Austin's all the time.
Yeah.
I go to Sundance a lot to see, and I actually saw the Dancing Queen, the ABBA band before, but it's hard for me to tell. I'm always working, right? I don't go out. I just stay at my house.
And we use your Facebook magic. If some people will have ideas, go throw it in the comments.
Absolutely,
for us.
yes.
We're looking to please. I mean, and what is that old saying? If you're not risking enough, or not failing enough, you're not doing enough. I mean, a couple of years ago, we tried that silent disco. We thought that was going to be the best thing since sliced
I was on a cruise thinking that would be awesome, and here it is. I think 5 of us at the end of the night doing it. I'm like,
right.
Who would have thought that wouldn't have taken off?
I've almost bought that 10 different times because some places you go and like this is really cool, and others are like I
know a guy that's selling them.
That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. I'll buy the video boards. Let's just make sure that we don't forget anything that especially people listen. I thought it was cool too. The bingo was really well received. Is that always like that? It was packed over there.
We got rid of it for a little. Well, we've had bingo, and then during COVID, we thought we can't have bingo. Who wants to sit next to somebody?
Right.
So we did not have bingo for 1 year, and oh my.
Oh,
goodness.
did you hear about that?
So that's why we came up with the tagline.
Bingo was back, baby. That was, and then it just was selling like hotcakes.
Well, and I think what helped this year too is CLC had their tent and serving fantastic tacos. By the way, for those that didn't, you missed out. They were great food. So a lot of people ate and then was right there and said, "Okay, give me a couple of bingo tickets."
Right. So we changed it so that it could only be food trucks. We only wanted food trucks because we moved them, and we didn't want to give water and electric, so we moved them behind Emos.
Right.
But CLC approached us, and they're a culinary school, but they don't have a food truck, so it was like...
How do you say no to CLC?
You can't. Exactly. So I said, okay, but where can we put them? So the committee said, let's put them there. Right. Well, they were leaving, and they sought me out and said, please, can we go back there next year?
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah. They were so happy, and they were a cute group.
And what a great experience for those kids. I mean, learning it all. So,
absolutely.
I mean, it's, again, that community feel.
Yes. And I love standing and watching the parade, because I want to talk about the parade really quick, too.
All right.
Is like me standing there, like hanging out and watching and hearing these people, like I was like right in front of Emil's. And hearing these people come by, and like a wife would be walking her husband down. She's like, and this is why I like this town so much, because they have this over here and this over here. Like people like in our town, like telling their other people how cool our town is. And later on, their bars are open. Like it's cool. Like it makes us have some pride in our town too, to see how cool the place we live.
And the workers were in some nice shirts that people could see us. And I cannot believe how many people this year came up to me and told me, oh my God, I don't know what you've done different, but this parade is awesome. And I'm thinking, okay.
It's awesome. Remember when you offered me a shirt and I was like, hell no, I don't want to offer me all that.
Don't draw attention to me.
I do not want this. I'm like, can I put on back? How can I help you? No, that's not happening. Okay, how many people were in the parade? Because we went down there and I'm like, oh, this shouldn't take very long. It's just it's a Summerfest parade.
Right. We had about 65 entries, but there's a lot that don't sign up that just come, that maybe forgot and just show up, and we don't turn them away, but we try to, because it is first come first serve,
right.
And then there's a group that is in the top 10. Sure. Because the chamber, obviously, so we started off, and then the grand sponsor, which was Jamie's group, Jamie Herring, then they would be next, and so we keep, and then the rest are filled in,
and then show up. Yeah.
And then Lester's is always last because they have the beach balls.
Still, when people come in with the beach balls, they're like, I think we were already in Emil's, and like, there's a semi on the road. I'm like, oh, that's Lester's.
5,000, they told us. 5,000, and they started at 6 o'clock Saturday morning.
Blow them up.
Blowing them up, and they were done at noon.
Oh, my gosh. That is insane.
I have to go. But
I know.
this was fun.
Brian's got to take out. Hey, thank you, Brian, for all you do.
Thank you.
Seriously,
Appreciate
you very,
You're in
very
good hands
much.
with these two.
Yes, we'll be fine. And then I'm looking forward. There's no pressure on you. I'm gonna be the guy writing on Facebook next year if these bands aren't up to par. So
And then, you know what? I'm up to that challenge.
Good news, Dave. You're on the committee.
I'm looking for volunteers.
Volunteers. Thank you, Brian.
That's how it works.
Yeah, but I think the parade was awesome. It's very cool to see, and I think that's a definition of community, like being very proud of like being in Grayslake, watching all these people walk by, and how many like.
And it was all, the majority of everybody in the parade is Grayslake. There was a couple of political groups,
Sure.
but they are, Laura Diaz is here, Mary Ellen Idle is here. So, there's a lot that are in Grayslake that are in the parade, but the majority of the entries, we pay for some entries.
Yeah.
But they're donations, too. That's the Shriners group, so we're paying for them, but it's talk about a good cause.
And the Lake County Posse, that's all the horses.
I wanted to know what that was because I kept trying to read the thing on the horses and I was like, I don't know who these people are.
And they are from Grayslake. There's a group that some of those riders live here in Grayslake.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're Lake County Posse, and they carry the flags and stuff like that. So they only were going to bring like 3 or 4 horses, but I think there was like 10.
There was a lot. Yes,
There was a lot.
I heard that from the people walking behind the horses.
That was us.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was the horses, the shovel guys, and then you.
See, it's the glamour of the job
Well, no,
Dave.
we had the mayor in front of us, the mayor and the trustees.
I have about 35 jokes that go with that I'm not using any of right now. That's funny though. So then, so that many, and it was packed down there.
It was packed.
And so many people, you just see the downtown, but you're not even, by turning on a hillside onto lake, it is packed that whole way stretched down too. It's like you gotta.
It's like you gotta.
You got your stuff. You got. Don't throw it all out.
I know, and that's why I keep telling
a long
everybody.
way to go.
We had a couple of new people walking with us. I said, "Don't go crazy," because when we turn on Center Street, it's craziness, and they're a lot closer because they feel like they need to come by us.
Absolutely, yeah, because one side's roped off and the other side people kind of creep out on that side.
Some people were taking down the ropes.
Saw that as well. I saw a lot of really interesting things, so I can't have a couple I've not been able to mention on here. But it's funny, I always tell kids to at a parade, I always go towards the beginning.
It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
People that haven't been to parades before, they throw out all their candy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then when they scream your name, you feel like, oh my gosh, I
feel obligated.
But we go through $300 worth of candy.
I bet.
And then we get rid of all of our old T-shirts. The 5K run.
That's it.
So, because we're going to get a new T-shirt next year anyway,
Absolutely.
so we wrap those all up and throw those out. Wow. So that's always fun.
Yeah. Anything that besides, so we have. I want to make sure we're not missing anything because these are big things. I like that we start later on Friday because it really is like Friday, Saturday, and then once Saturday night is done, it's a mad dash to. And when you guys walked in here, I want to say, as a community member, like great job on the cleanup. It was fast, it was furious, and walking around. Cause in past years, I've seen like beer bottles here and stuff there, but it looks fantastic.
We have been lucky enough that we now hire to clean up. So Mars Cleaning comes Friday night, cleans. Then they come Sunday morning and clean, and then they power wash the streets.
Do they really? Okay. Yeah. So that's a nice thing to give back to the community too.
Right. So but for all intents and purposes, the crowd is pretty good. Friday night, nobody left anything out. There was no trash to be found.
Really?
When we left Friday night, it's like, wow, did we even have a party? Saturday night,
Saturday when you were standing watching the band, it was starting to clear out, and I heard people tripping over cups
and everything
that are out there. Right. Yeah. So the polite people come on Friday, and the party people come on Saturday.
I think the crowds were so. Yeah, I think they just leave it on the tables and whatever. But
anything else that's like glaring thing that you guys are for sure gonna? Is there anything gonna change next year that you see and go, oh man, we're gonna do that, or we need to add this?
Yeah, my one aha was the food trucks. So I love them being there.
Yeah.
But I thought, let's put tables down the middle. That was not smart because you're trying to get food. People are sitting. The lines are
crazy.
Yeah. So I think the food trucks got to go down farther, and then maybe the front have all the tables so they can listen to the bands, but the trucks so that you're not claustrophobic. And then we also found out that the south end of the porta potties had no lights.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, you use those porta potties. I am very sorry. We now found out that without the food trucks being down there with all the lights, it was dark in there.
Oh, you just take it for granted because it was lit up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
some things that, when we rearrange things, the things that you don't really, who would have known? So you had to you see all these people with their lights on their phones.
Well, at least nowadays everybody carries a flashlight everywhere they go.
Right. So they were lucky,
lost
but
the phone down
I do apologize that that was when you make this map up, it looks like, we're. And then
perfect,
when everything gets there, I'm like, we do have bigger real estate, or we could have done this, or we could. So there's a lot of things I think we've learned from this, and we will change.
Yeah.
But I think I never saw so many blankets down. You know what I mean? It was families with blankets, and it was.
Which is very cool, and it sounds like that's exactly what you're going for, right? And opening up that other real estate for people to come around and do stuff.
And some of the things we think of, too, it's more what we're going to keep, too, and can we build on it, or that didn't work, but it's more, you mentioned the parade, and it's like you always you got to have these. And it's, the high school bands, I think, are so popular, and they are so good.
One of my favorite things in the
fantastic.
Always my favorite.
Circus Kazoo is they're right here in town too, but everybody loves them. Right. There's just certain things you've got to have along with the Shriners, and but if anybody knows any parade acts too, we're always looking for those, and we are spending money on some of those ones that go to a different cause. So like the Great Lake Naval Band, we couldn't get this year either, but we've tried to get those in past years.
And the Crystal Lake Strikers, they're big. They're
they
everywhere.
Were great.
Yeah. They were so good.
Yeah, they demanded your attention as they came by, and they're really loud too. So
that's good. And then again with bingo, we brought that back based on the public, and that's such a challenge too. Number one, we had volunteers. Thankfully, the baseball team does the volunteers.
The
dugout club. Those guys are having fun.
But we got to get a license for gambling. We've got to get the machine. There's a tent that's involved. The expense on that for them to make money. And again, it's a community event, so we're happy to do it, and as long as the community likes to do it, and it is a lot of fun.
Right. And so is that a fundraiser for the dugout club then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We get everything for them, but they run it and they do everything. And there's nothing to say that we wouldn't bring rides back. But if we were to bring rides back, it would have to be something that is for everybody. My goal is to get the Ferris wheel down here. I am going to get that Ferris wheel down here.
Anybody knows anybody that's got a good Ferris wheel?
But. Something like that. Maybe it would only be one ride, but it would be something.
Okay, and tell everybody why you want the Ferris wheel, because the reason the why is
to see the town and to see the lights
from above.
From above.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You got to admit that would be pretty cool.
You have to be in a different location though. Then, so then you start spreading out and things get lost.
Right.
And you have to watch how far you go, because then you need to start closing down other streets.
Yeah.
Which
and there's the parking is so hard because everybody wants to be downtown. And we had where our food trucks were, we had it closed. And I come Saturday at 3:00 and it's packed. I'm like,
right.
Those barricades were just for show.
Those barricades were for show.
I saw those, yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, these food trucks are not going to be able to get out of here. So luckily a couple of them left and we were able to put garbage cans out there. But it's a one-way street, so I'm like,
yeah.
So.
Well, not everybody follows the rules. Like I do all the time. Because we know I followed all the rules this year, especially. No, but that's cool. Do you think that will anybody listening to this, or will there be opportunities for more food trucks? Will you cap that? Because I know you like to keep everything local. Dog and Suds, the line for Dog and Suds, just the community support around that is just so awesome.
Right. You've got Dog and Suds and Barbecue Productions are here. They would always,
Right.
I would like to see the bigger names that we did have the lobster person, the lobster something on Friday night. They were already booked on Saturday. So I'd like to see more like unique things.
Sure.
And
somebody ran out. I saw somebody on Saturday night that they were like...
They all ran out.
Kind of like the blessing and the curse, kind of like cool, but kind of sucks when you walk up and see somebody's menu and then they're crossed off that they're all sold out or a piece of tape over there.
So
which means you did your job getting people here.
Right, right. So, and they were thankful that, there was not that many. So it's like it's like a hard one. Yep. They made, Dog and Suds was like, so happy.
Right.
But, so if you add more, then that's less for, so it's a,
sure.
I think we need at least 6 to 8.
Yeah. And then, the year that you have 8, it'll rain, and then everything is dispersed over. So but it's a gamble for everybody, right? It's a gamble for you guys. It's a gamble for the food truck people. It's a gamble for everyone.
Yeah, and I did have some poor little girl come up to me and said, "Is there ice cream here?"
Ooh.
So now we know we need, yeah. So I did tell him to go down to the freeze and, do that. But now I know that, there was nothing. There was no.
Interesting.
CLC had brownies, but we didn't have the funnel cake because they were not a food truck. So we didn't have the ice cream, and so now I know that I need to
So with
find.
some rules, you have to make sure that, you serve everybody like that. Yeah,
maybe the freeze will want to come down and have a booth.
Sure. All right, guys.
They've got time to get a food truck.
Yeah. You
the line they had both nights, I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh. And that's another thing, just the way that the downtown was working, from the bars, restaurants, everything, just to see people how they filter out of there. And beforehand, and all these times we talk about this, and seeing you guys shake your heads yes and smile, it's like, we have an awesome community.
We do.
We really do.
This is one of the great things. Okay, we're going to end on this. Why Summerfest?
Why Summerfest?
Because everybody's like, on my resume now, just so you guys know, that my first on my resume, Dave Wool, whatever, opened Summerfest. That's all it's going to be. It's just one line.
Wow.
It's open Summerfest. I'm not going to say where or anything, but I opened Summerfest.
You did.
I did.
You did.
So Grayslake Days or Grayslake.
It's not days. We're not doing anything during.
But you already have Grayslake Nights or Summer Nights.
Summer Nights.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it was we wanted to change it because we changed the.
Because we didn't have the day stuff. So like Summerfest, the focus was on the bands.
Okay.
And certainly, and I'm I'd love to have more kids stuff or anything in the day. I mean, if anybody in the community has ideas and more importantly would like to volunteer, because we had a bag tournament for a couple years and then the guy who ran it moved. But I mean, that is, you don't think of the logistics you got to do. You got to get how many sets of bags. You got to, who's going to run that?
Who's down there?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's so I mean, we're open to ideas, but help us out. And like the dunk tank's a good idea. It's a fundraiser for the Coyote baseball team or whatever. And they man that whole thing. So we just don't have the manpower anymore.
Right.
Or we're certain at a limit.
Right.
So we're open to volunteers on all our events.
That's right. We have an event, so and it's the same people.
Right. And an event where you're going to lose money. It's just a matter of how much are we going to lose. How many things do you add that cost you more money to make a couple people happy that maybe don't bring? Because it's about value, right?
Correct.
What do you bring in and the value for it. But I'll agree with you too that the things with the kids doing. I don't know how many people like that day. There's opening fall baseball. There's football practice. So parents are everywhere. Unless you have little guys, which is hard to do.
Right. But it's the beginning of everything. I mean, I got up at 6:00 in the morning to take my grandson to Elkhorn for the football jamboree.
Right. Because everybody needs a football jamboree at the end of the summer.
Yes,
I like Summerfest better.
But you need to be there at 6:00 in the morning for weigh-in.
And I think that this past Saturday at Grayslake Central was football photographs at 7 a.m. I think it was picture day at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Wow. So
with practice all day.
I think that we realized that the town they don't have time to come down during the day.
And make it what it is.
And that's why we got rid of Sundays, because Sunday was not.
Right. Yeah, and Sunday, it's enough, right? We do it. We get everybody out, have a lot of fun. And I like random facts. Do you know how many kegs we went through? I think I counted 14 out there when I was leaving on Saturday.
Really?
And I don't know if that was all of them.
So that was Saturday, not Friday, because Friday had some.
Maybe they got rid of the Friday night ones.
So they fill us up, and then on Friday night we tell them what we went through.
Right.
And then they come back Saturday morning and fill it up again.
Well, my little 2-hour shift I did from 7 to 9, we went through 8 kegs. And I'll tell you, one thing we do need is another IPA. MGD we don't need. Sorry, Genuine Draft.
Yeah.
Coors Light, Miller Lite, and then was Anti-Hero. And,
Really?
And I think we went through 3 kegs during that time.
Yeah.
So.
And we ran out of
White Claw.
White Claw.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? The thing that blew my mind is every time I looked over, there was a line. I mean, Saturday from 6 o'clock to the end. There's a line
my
the
goal
whole
is
time.
to have a big VIP tent.
Right.
That's so that hopefully next year we'll be able to add that to thank our sponsors. Our
Right.
sponsors, you'll look at, it's the same people over and over. So, it would be nice that you've been a proud sponsor of the Chamber all year. Here's a tent that's going to be covered for you, that's going to have tables. You don't have to worry about schlepping anything, or just, you get to have fun.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
How much is this costing us?
Right. Right. You go more
That's
on
my
the
dream.
Hold on, wait.
But you got to keep those sponsors, because without them, then we're in big trouble.
That's right.
We'll find sponsors for that.
And I think this is a kind of a cool shout out too to businesses in town that don't sponsor. We have so many that are active members, so I'm going to ask you to be active. If there's something to sponsor, I think these events are something that you can't get better exposure than Summer Nights, especially with having the video screens up there and having all the Facebook posts you guys make and people checking the calendar of events. I mean, this is a huge value to sponsor. So
I totally agree. And I always say, you might not be able to throw the money. You might be a home business.
Sure.
But yet, come volunteer. Wear your shirt that says, whatever, and volunteer and let people know who you are. I mean, the beer tent always, from 9 to 11, the Chamber ran it.
right.
But anybody could. So if you didn't,
right.
you could have been in there.
You're not turning people away that want to say, hey, I want to come pour a
Here's
beer.
my $600 for it.
No, we will not turn anyone away. I mean, there's so much that they could do.
Wow.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have to wear an orange shirt. They could wear their business shirt.
Right. Yeah, no, and it's a great way just to network and know people. Yeah. Wow. All right, anything that we failed to mention, and any sponsors or anybody that we have not
Sure,
give a
we're
shout out to, we're sorry about that.
Collision Solutions I didn't mention. Honey Orthodontist, I think I mentioned Orthodontist Specialist of Lake County. I apologize if I didn't. I didn't have my sheet with me.
No, that's fine.
I ran out of the office, but
No, we appreciate all of you.
we
big time.
have some great sponsors.
Yeah.
Great sponsors.
Yeah, it's just cool to see everybody come together, especially from the volunteers to everything, and watch the town come out. So I think that the things I've taken out of this is, if you have some constructive criticism, we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely.
Also with your application to volunteer at the same time, especially I'd say about whether it's coaching baseball or whether it's anything in your businesses that you do. If you don't like the way things are done, then get involved and help change them. Right?
And we're a fun, happy group.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah. You guys are really working hard. I'm glad that I didn't see anybody from the Chamber consuming any alcohol or anything. You guys were straight-laced.
Straight-laced, we just...
Working too hard.
Just working really hard. I like that. I
have time.
I did the same. So besides sponsorship, anything that we know that's coming next year that might be different? I mean, you guys are like...
We're
It's like
definitely
the
going to
hangover
expand the den. And a
Yes.
shout out to a lot of the Chamber. Certainly Sarah Gallagher was the brainchild on that and put the work together. But, people like Jim Starwald, who came on Friday and put the thing together, and, he's got his construction skills that he put to work. I think they'll definitely expand that, make that even bigger, because that was,
Huge.
a huge success for the teenagers and tweens and,
And I
not
think
just the adults.
I think
but-
once it gets going, that was our first year.
Yeah.
And then we have a new boba tea that's coming, and so she gave out samples on Friday night because she's opening up her doors underneath the 10 Lake Street. So I think that was kind of a cool thing that they did that. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be bigger and
Yeah, and for the first year, you don't know how it's going to be received. So how big do you go?
Exactly.
Right? So now at least you know that there's a
and that would be a great place for more volunteers, too, because Sarah was there 2 nights that whole time, and that was just a lot. It's a lot of work. We also kicked off our Grayslake scholarships, so we're, again, giving 6 $2,000 scholarships to graduating seniors, so...
okay, so if somebody...
now.
Right, since we're talking about that, where would they apply? And this is the SIPs for scholarships, right?
Correct.
Okay. I did read that. See,
There you go.
So if you have a senior at North or Central right now, is that who applies?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
They go to their counselor. The applications are there.
Okay.
Or they can contact me. I will be happy to send them one. Unfortunately, we don't get as many as we think we should for $2,000. It's craziness.
It's easy. And it's not like it's all based on grades. I mean, we're looking for the well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
So...
And this year it was kind of fun because we made them a little stipulation was they had to give back. And they had to volunteer.
One of our events.
So out of the 6, 3 did come. I had 2 that worked the 5K. And then I had 1 that worked street party and summer nights. And they also came out and worked the golf outing.
That's fantastic.
And we still have 2 events yet. They can still do it.
They can still call
time
me.
to get in. No,
And I think they enjoyed it. I really do think that they enjoyed volunteering.
Yeah, and so many people complain too that they're either bored or they're lonely or they don't have the circle of friends or anything. The best way to change your entire life like that is just volunteering. Get out with a bunch of great people.
Right. Don't stay home.
100%.
You can work an hour, or you can work, the whole event.
Right. No, it's fun. Or all of the
All
events the entire time.
We need some younger people to schlep. I'm getting too old.
I tell you what. Well, it's always fun to see the fresh things come in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where the new ideas come from, too. So.
Yeah, so get involved.
And our next event would be the trick-or-treating, and we're going to bring food trucks down.
Oh, so downtown trick-or-treat, or business trick-or-treating, what do we do?
Last year we had over 3,000 kids.
3,000 kids. Holy
and
cow.
the restaurants couldn't handle it.
No.
And
so
kids on a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a couple of food trucks out, where the village has put something on Whitney. They have those nice picnic tables.
Mm-hmm.
We'll throw a couple out there. Dog and Suds will be out there, and we'll throw a couple of them out there so that there's a little bit more that...
That's really cool. Great idea. What are the times for that, too? Do you know?
11 to 1.
11 to 1. It's that short, and you get 3,000 people out there, in and out? Whew. Okay.
We close the street, and
it's...
If you have not come down, even if you don't have small children, the costumes...
Right.
And we do have a costume contest this year, so we will be able to... And
that's an easy one to run.
Yeah. Right. Bella V takes pictures of everybody. I mean, it's incredible. So, yeah, I challenge anyone to come down, whether you have kids or not, just to see the streets. And it's family. So one family was Monopoly. And... one of the kids had the board around them, and the parents were... I mean, the parents get dressed up. It is really cool.
No. Okay, so that's the next event. Circling back for one thing, too, I wanted to give a shout-out to the fire department, the police, everybody on how well I think they ran from security-wise and keeping things good. A lot of people know that I do a lot of drone work and everything, so across from Emils, it was really nice to see that the police department had a drone up in the air to look at things, and of course my phone went off like 100 times. No, we're not droning it, we're not doing anything, but surveillance to check rooftops to keep everybody safe and everything. I love to see them go in the extra mile.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you realize the police are everywhere for these parades, and we start with the fire truck, so we have something in front, and then usually it's the public works at the end to just kind of contain us.
Yeah.
And that's the other shout out too, is just the public works. I mean, all those fencing, everything that gets put up, and then couldn't do without it, or the village support. Again, it takes a village to put these on. It's a lot.
And it does take a village, legitimately.
And the village has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So anything we need, they've been helping us with.
That's awesome. Well, I salute both of you. Great job. Great job by the entire Chamber of Commerce, by all of our volunteers, by all of our sponsors, everybody that makes this go around, because it's just not one little thing.
Yep.
You guys better get to work and start planning. Next
year. There we go.
And then the tree lighting. Don't forget.
Oh yes, tree lighting. Yeah, we have all kinds of great events. And it's funny that anybody listens to the show a lot, that how many people know that tree lighting is probably their favorite event.
Mary Beth too.
I know, right? It's very cool. We're going to find a way to document that, or even because I know we can't fly drones at night.
I wish we could.
But we're gonna find a way, even if we find a way to stream that too.
And I will give everybody just a little. We've got lots in the work, but
Yes.
Santa's reindeers will be here. Two of Santa's, I believe.
The real reindeers?
Real reindeers.
Wow.
Will
So
be
you have
here.
real reindeer.
Real reindeers.
That's cool.
Real reindeers will be sitting outside Santa's workshop waiting for Santa to come out.
It's very cool. How many people do you get for that?
Volunteers are people that come down here.
People that come down there. If you have 3,000 people for trick-or-treating, there's got to be...
I took it was kind of funny because I did take a video. I was on stage and I took a video of the lights going on and my panoramic view of the people. When people, I had somebody ask if they, do you get a lot of people? And I showed them that and they're like, oh yeah, we want a booth. We want a booth.
Do you get a lot of people?
I would say a minimum of 5,000 people were down there.
Yeah, has to be.
Minimum.
Wow.
It
So get
was-
there early if you want to park. Don't complain about parking because you know it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we will definitely follow up and see if there's anything new or any of the events that people are going to come. That's for sure. So that'll be a lot of fun. What's the date of that? Do you know off the top of your head?
November 29th.
November 29th.
Day after Thanksgiving.
All right. Mark your calendars, kids.
3 to 7.
3 to 7. Wow. Okay, so we have Halloween and then that, and we'll make sure we cover all the events. But thank you, guys. Grayslake, thank you so much for all your participation, everything, coming out and supporting, and making this the least loss we can. It's having fun.
There we go.
But it's nice when it's just about fun. And we know that there are certain events you just have to take a hit on, right?
Absolutely.
There's no way
Exactly.
to do it.
We plan accordingly.
Otherwise, they give them 1,000 other things to complain about, too. So, but complaints to a minimum, which is wonderful.
It's always a
Great.
good thing.
All right, we got everything?
We got everything.
Okay, cool. Grayslake, thank you guys so much for listening wherever you guys are at, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Apple Music, wherever you listen to the podcast, make sure to subscribe. And thank you for taking part in all of these community events. Once again, shout out to more volunteers, more sponsors, anybody that wants to get involved in our town. It's a great place to be. So thank you, everybody in Grayslake, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.